Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back live after episode 6 of Survivor 46. Emergatory is over and we got a good one. Can't wait to get into it with my great friend. Dr. Evvie Jagoda is here. Evvie, how are you?
I'm so good, Rob. Thank you so much for having me here. Mergatory episode. I'm just going to get it out of the way. Tiffany invented the phrase mergatory. Okay, Tiff,
Yes.
I said it. It's out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tiffany. Okay. She should go to a patent office soon.
Yeah.
I've been so excited all week that you're going to be here to talk with me about everything. And I think we have a lot to figure out here tonight in terms of where things are going on a night where it was all for Mariah.
Yeah. Except there's one vote for Venus, right?
Yeah. One vote for Venus. I forgot to look that.
It was Charlie. It was
Charlie. Okay.
Yeah.
One vote. And I kind of feel like that was like the Caleb protection vote. Like okay, she's playing the shot in the dark. I don't want it to be me.
You got to do it. You got to do it. Someone's got to do it. But yeah, no, I think it's kind of a fun episode where the vote ended up being so straightforward, but it was so much interesting stuff that came up leading up to it. And I feel like the game is still so open moving forward from here.
Okay, well, we'll break it all down. We'll take your questions later on. On Thursday, I will be talking with Mariah and hear what she has to say about everything. And then we'll have Stephen Fish back for the Living Know-It-Alls.
You don't want to be a dead know-it-all, Rob.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I'd rather be a living fool than a dead know-it-all. But we will talk about everything with Stephen slightly earlier time, 1:30 p.m. on Thursday. Okay, a little bit earlier than we've been doing them normally. Okay, Evvie, how are you doing?
Well, Rob, I recently got a big weight off my chest. I had gender affirming top surgery recently, and I'm feeling amazing about that. And I've been pretty much sitting around with nothing to do, so it's the perfect time to get deep into Survivor again, and thrilled to talk to you.
You had an amazing Instagram post on Sunday. So, incredible job with that. And so, so glad you're up for coming on and talking some Survivor with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it means a lot.
Evvie, how are you enjoying Survivor 46?
I am really liking it. I have to tell you something, Ram. I've honestly been a little bit of a casual in the new era of Survivor, honestly. Always watching Survivor was like a high energy activity for me. And then you go on the show and it's not chill to watch it. It's like I'm like doing a thing. I'm like watching Survivor. That's like stressful. So I kind of like faded in and out of the last couple seasons, but I've been like in on 46, and it's got a lot of personalities, a lot of it's a little different than some of the other seasons, a little less like game body. You got some Banus, like you got some Tims, people like I feel like are playing a little different than some of our classic game bot new era types. So I'm having fun.
Yeah, I feel like this is not a game bot season.
No, yeah, there's a lot of and like everyone's like kind of like, even like Q, he's like very like in some sense like he's strategy, but he's like making some like interesting choices, like the Jelinski thing, like he's got his like work ethic stuff. Like we got some like very interesting interesting characters here.
It seems like, Q has a couple of like different triggers that if somebody like sets it off, like that's it. Jelinski wanted to quit the challenge. That's it. Okay. Mariah, her favorite player is Aubrey. She's got to go.
You're out. Rob, what is the least threatening player to say? Like, what do you go for?
Banu.
Yeah. But I was trying to remember what people said their favorite Survivor player was. I feel like I really remember that Xander said coach, and I was like, not that. I was like, I mean, it wasn't that threatening. I was like, that's not that scary. But then I remember that Abraham said Philip, and I was like, okay, that's your favorite Survivor player,
Well, that was better or worse, Philip?
I think that was worse because he said Philip because Philip was so authentic. And I was like, that doesn't seem true to me.
That does not track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, that was the duo that was the like supposed South Pacific matchup that was going to be Coach versus Philip, and then Philip didn't want to do it. So that could have been the two right there. But the Aubrey thing was so interesting, and I really feel like tonight I want to say justice for Mariah, because I
Yes.
really feel like that it was an interesting night for me because I really felt like that I thought Venus was going home up until Mariah played the shot in the dark. And I really felt like that out of everything I've learned about the Mergatory, and I've studied this, Evvie, over and
Yeah.
I've looked at every single one of these, and I really felt like, okay, Mariah did everything right that you should do in this Mergatory situation. I feel like that Venus, who is incredible to watch, I'm so happy she's still here, but I feel like that Venus did most of the things wrong or not in the way that you should do them. And I really felt like, okay, well, goodbye, Venus. And she's here. And Mariah went home.
Yeah. Okay. I have some counterpoints. Like, okay. So I do think that Mariah honestly did not like very little wrong, but I do have a couple like nitpicks. But I think Venus did more right than people give her credit for.
Okay.
Okay, Venus, she's already at the bottom of her tribe. That's just like a lost cause. They have such animosity for her. And it's honestly amazing TV. Love Venus. So glad she's here. The scene of Venus and Soda fighting while Hunter was looking for the idol. Chef's kiss Survivor. Okay, but Venus did the thing of like actually making it in. Everyone was framing it as like it's just like, is it Siga or is it Yanu? Or no, what's the yellow tribe?
Nami.
Yeah, is it Siga or is it Nami? And like that was what they were weighing. Venus, I think the most important thing Venus did was when she said to Soda and Kenzie, she said to Soda especially, like, if Q doesn't like Mariah because she's a super fan, you're next. And I think that was like the only time either one of them started actually like making them as an individual in other people's self-interest. And Soda's thinking, that's right. Venus also went on to be like, I don't want to get a girl out. I want like the women to say, let's get Charlie. I think Kenzie was probably more into that than she was like saying. We saw Devin. It was like Devin, Q, Hunter, and Tiff are sitting there. Well, Tevin is like, she doesn't want to get a woman out. Like, we hate that, right? Obviously, and Tiff's obviously sitting there being like, well, that's not so bad for me. So I think Venus was like throwing a lot out there, but there was actual meat there. Mariah was just kind of both being too closed off.
Right.
And like not giving anything.
Yeah, I don't say Mariah was perfect, but I feel like that. So I kind of like had like this rubric of like how I was looking at Mergatory. And I really felt like that tonight's episode was like, okay, 100% is going to prove that we have these established rules. And I really felt like coming into the week, okay, it's going to be one of these, the Mergatory boot is always the person, one of the tribes is going to say, okay, this person is expendable. That one tribe is ultimately going to throw away somebody. It's never been yet a big threat who is ultimately somebody we got it. Not like the old days of the merge. It's somebody that is not fitting in with their original tribe. And then the second part of this in all of these Mergatories that I've looked at before, that the person who is not safe, you are better off being Hunter. I'm sorry, they're not just better off, but you have more say being Hunter without a vote, but safe, than Venus with a vote who is not safe. You're better off if you're in that group of people who has won the challenge, that you have a lot of sway, and anything you do, like the Ellie, the person who is saying names who's not safe, that it boomerangs back. It's like, who are you? You're saying names? You're not even safe. What are you doing?
Yep. Well, okay. And this is why is it known? We all agree Mergatory is bad. Like, I'm not so much in the sphere.
Well, so I liked it. But I feel like that the last couple have been, now, I mean, we're getting to where it was going to be what? 12 to 0 for Caleb at the shot in the dark, which kind of this was tonight, what, 11 to 1. Evvie, I was thinking about this earlier. I mean, can you believe it was one episode of television in Survivor 41? Erica broke the hourglass and they did Knowledge is Power in one episode of television.
That's right. Well, do you remember? I mean, the merge was 2 episodes.
Yes,
of course. So they had to split it up.
Before that we wanted to talk about.
But this is like the most cancelable take as a Survivor 41 player. It's like, if you're gonna do the Mergatory, maybe you have to do the hourglass. I don't know, because realistically, the thing that was boring to me about this episode is that, I'm not saying the episode was boring, but the flaw, too many people were too comfortable for too much of the episode. You know, you have so many people there who like, yeah, they win the challenge, they eat the feast, they're chilling, then they're vote, and they just like have all this power. And I think it was also a little unfortunate for the episode drama that like all the powerful people, or many of the powerful people, were safe, and they're just like, oh, whatever, you know. In the hourglass, which was horrible and totally destroyed my game, everybody was freaked out for at least some of the days, like freaked out. And that, like,
and also you've never seen Mergatory before, also. So there was some novelty to it in terms of like the players scrambling, but they all know what's coming now. And you know, I think that this +1 or the Journey 6 alliance is interesting, but you know, this was probably like the most big brothery round of Survivor ever. Of that, you had down. All of the people in power made an alliance, then also were completely safe. And it was like a Big Brother 22, where it was like, then all the people that were at the bottom were like scrambling and trying to say like, hey, like go for the people in power.
Yes.
They're like, no.
Back in my day, you did the challenge with the strong dudes, and then you won the challenge, but then you guys got out.
And then they would lose.
And then that would be the losing.
You know? you all would like that tonight. If they made the strong people win the challenge and then made them like, you won and now you lost.
Yeah, that would have been, I would have loved to see that group. But also just in general, like, it is the thing I like least about New Era Survivor, of how these like early, and it seems like, I don't know if the next episode is going to be a split tribal. Probably it's split. And then they said 2 people are going home, right?
They said 2 people are going home on the preview.
It's fun to have the chaos of a 13-person vote. Like, let us have a big vote. I want to see how that shakes out. Okay, wait. Back to I don't know. You're in charge of the podcast.
No, you are. You are. This is your night tonight, Evvie.
All right. Back to the merge challenge split. Okay. You want to know? Okay. Obviously, Tiffany made a great choice to go with the strong people. Okay. But I don't know if this is, again, I'm a casual in the New Era right now, so I don't know if this is an old take. I think Tiffany in that spot has to go where the other purple people are, no matter what, even if that was the losing tribe, right?
I didn't think about that, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's typically what has happened.
I feel like future players out there listening to this, I think even if that had been the weaklings tribe, she's better off sticking with them. Like, obviously I'm projecting everything from my season onto this. I was alone as the only Yasa it was like me, Ricard, and then 3 Luvus. Ricard won the immunity. I was the only one from my tribe. So it's just like the easy thing. If it's going to be a Yasa, it's going to be me. If Ricard hadn't won the challenge, it would have been either Evvie or Ricard, because it's just like the loners. You got to stick with your buddies. So I think even if it had been the weaklings, that would still have been.
But I also feel like that the people that are on the other side have more sway. So maybe you do want to divide and conquer. Like I know you went through the first one, and so you had not figured out like the rubric of like who holds all the power in that scenario. But
I think it's like, I think it's like in some sense they have the power, but they obviously also don't. I mean, it's still the regular numbers of the game. Like, you know, Tiffany and Xander didn't have any more power because, you know, like, so.
Evvie, what's up with this, where this Yanu tribe comes in and they have the smallest numbers and they have all the power? What's up with that?
I know, but I mean, that is the classic now. I mean, I think like the galaxy brain Malcolm and Denise, they proved it, you know, and it just like does end up being the thing that this small group, like, I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect for them to have a good 3 and then 5 versus 5. Like, they just inherently are going to have the power. But I am nervous about this 3 because Q has gone out there and said to 2 other people in the game, my number 1 is Tiff. And I don't know that. I mean, Kenzie knows that, I'm sure. But I'm like, I feel like the hard thing, like, you'd think Tiff is in the best spot in the Yanu, maybe even in the game. Yanu has like a great position. She's got her 2 allies. If those 2 allies want to do different things, Idol Alicia, I forgot about that. Wait, is it Idol Alicia?
I think it's Idol Alicia.
Yeah, okay, that was embarrassing.
Even though my closed captioning called it Ad Alicia.
Yeah. Ad Alicia. If the 2 allies want to go different ways, which I really feel like Q and Kenzie might, it's gonna be tough to figure out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm very happy for Kenzie. I thought that there was a scenario tonight where Kenzie was the boot, where potentially if it was Kenzie was in the group that was not safe, that I thought that maybe Q might have thrown her under the bus as being the expendable person from Yanu. but I feel like that she was able to get her footing under her. I thought she had a really good episode tonight. And I feel like that we might get to see Kenzie get to play in the post-merge.
Yes, which I love. I love Kenzie. I mean, the whole Yanu tribe, I really do feel like these 3 characters are great to have in the game.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like Kenzie has a lot of spots.
They're the main characters now.
That's right. That's right. And she's had like a lot of willingness to go out on her own and do stuff. Like we saw that in the pre-merge. And I think like I could see her like, pull in Venus. Venus is like, it's so, everyone's like, ugh, Venus. It's like Venus is literally begging to be picked up. Like I could totally see Kenzie scooping in a Venus and like getting something going, you know?
Yeah. I'm worried about Venus though. And again, she's been great television. And so I'm so happy that she's there, but I kind of feel like that in the new era, and this is something that we've been tracking. I kind of feel like that this person who is like making these bids of, hey, everybody, let's do this. Hey, everybody, let's do this.
Yeah.
I feel like you get like a shot or 2 at it, but if it doesn't take, I feel like that you end up on that sort of like 0 vote finalist track. And I'm worried that's maybe Venus's upside right now.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably what I was thinking. 0 vote finalists realistically, but hey, it's not so bad. You get 3rd place, you know.
It's not so bad. No, I think if she outlasts all the other nominees, I think that she would be like, thrilled. Couldn't you see her like being like happy when her tribe mates are getting voted out?
Yeah, exactly. You know, but the other thing, I mean, I think it really depends. It's like she's so ripe for a come from behind underdog story that like could, if she can find some power in this game, you know, be a winning story. But the like in this current iteration with these cards on the board, it just doesn't seem like there's ever going to be a mass enough of people that she would be like the leader. But I think, is she like going to be the next one to go home? Probably not, depending on the split.
It'll depend on the split for the split tribal council. Let's talk about this decision that they made of Venus the Snake versus Mo the Threat. And first off, who do you think ultimately made this call?
Yeah, that's interesting. Because like, so, I mean, presumably, I mean, I really didn't like what Mariah did at the tribal with the revealing the bottom thing. I did not like that. But presumably
I think that must have been so like, okay, this is my like complete Hail Mary.
Yeah. Yeah. But presumably that didn't have an impact on the actual votes.
No.
Like her tribe was already voting for her. I mean, yeah, I was trying to think of that. Like who is the like link of like that group being like, Nessa's time? I mean, I honestly, okay, I'm biased because I love Charlie. He lives in Boston. He's a sweetie. I feel like he's the one of like, at the end of the day, Siga's going to make a decision together. He is the one who's at risk from them. We saw him in his confessional being like, end of the day, if Mo needs to go for me to stay, that's what needs to happen. I could see him being like, at the end of the day, it's the least risky thing for him to just pile on Mo. We know that'll be then what happens. Safe and sound. We're good to go. And he obviously went the safety route of voting for Venus to have that extra vote there. So I don't know. I mean, I think he is the most influential person on that tribe. We saw a lot of Tim this episode.
Yeah.
But Tim seemed like pretty into the Mariah situation. Yeah, I don't really know.
He was into getting rid of Mariah.
Or I don't know. He was like, I feel like at first he was taking her in a lot. We saw a lot of him like talking to her. So I don't know. I mean, they're also, yeah, I mean, wow, so much for Maria and her women's alliance. Really, just bam, bam, let them go.
I don't want to bounce around too much, but I'm so confused about last week's vote because my working theory was Tim went to the journey, made this alliance, came home, told Maria about, hey, Maria, like I made this 6-person alliance, and that Maria was like, okay, well, I feel good about Tim now. He said I was his number 1. So, all right, I'm going to cut bait on Jem here and play my extra vote. It turned out that he did not do that. And I'm even more confused about last week about what happened to make Maria switch, where she said in the episode, the plan was to stick with the women.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she has a good reason. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, not to dwell on last too much, but I really think Jem was just like playing too hard. And I think like we can't underestimate how disruptive to the scramble it was that she was out there like measuring machetefuls of the distances and stuff. Like, I just think that probably contributed to an overall sketch factor that I think was more Jem related. But why the hell did Mariah
Can I add one thing?
Maria play her extra vote?
I bet Jem was probably at home cursing tonight when she saw that that Hunter had to go find his idol under the steps.
Seriously, under the. Also, why did he wait so long? Lucky that it was so easy. Did it? He found it last. I don't even.
He found it last week, and then I have to go. I'm going to go back and see that. I feel like that what he said, the idol clue said, was not what he said it said last week. But he then, once they got to the merge, then he had to he would have an opportunity to go find the key before the boats came.
Gotcha.
And
so I guess he did have the least amount of time. Yeah, he had the time stretch, but still. Well, okay, I do really like the 45 and 46, these idols. I think they're so fun. I think this is a really great combination.
You like the multiple step idol.
I think it's a perfect balance of beware, but it's achievable. And then there's kind of a fun scavenger hunt, but we've got 90 minutes, so it's not that big of a deal. Mm-hmm. I'm loving it. I'm actually rewatching some of the episodes, watching for the first time of Survivor 45, and I'm like, holy shit, this is great. Love what's happening.
Okay, well, I'd love to get your thoughts on that too.
Yeah. Okay, so far my take, Drew. So interesting. I know that's not what this podcast is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So all right, but back to Maria. Yeah, mm-hmm. So it's kind of unclear what she's what made her go with what Charlie wanted to do, when it seemed like her initial feeling was, okay, I'm going to stick with the women. But then coming into this episode, then it was so confusing about why didn't Tim say anything to Maria about the 6-person alliance, because it seemed like that you would tell her, right?
Yes. Tim is such an interesting character out here, playing so chill, and I mean, I have to say, I always was I feel, again, you project yourself into all these decisions. I saw Q is me telling, being so desperate for Deshaun to be my ally, because I'm at the bottom. I mean, my tribe has the fewest people, and Luvu's looking so great. And that's what Q comes in there and is here's the plan. We'll do these alliances. And at the end of the day, Hunter and Tim have known the people on their tribe so much longer than Q for this 1 second. It makes 1,000% sense to me that it's much more real for Q than it is for either of those guys. But the funny thing about Tim is he is into it. He just didn't do anything about it or tell Maria about it. And then also I was maybe he was lying. Maybe Ben is his number one and he was just not trying to tell Q that. But it seems no, he does like Maria. I mean, he's a little, I think a little too laid back for this game, but it's kind of working for him right now. So
very laid back. Although Q was but why wouldn't you say that? That makes me very suspicious that why wouldn't you say something? And he said to Maria, he explained it well, I didn't want to force it on you. I kind of wanted you to meet them for yourself and see if you like them. And Maria's yeah, that's good. Like we said last week that, for all these people, options is great. You want to have this other alliance in your back pocket. Maybe you go with your tribal lines, and maybe you stick with this other option. Maybe for Yanu, why it's working the best for them is that they don't have a plan B. They're kind of all in on this plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, it worked out for them so well also because they were all safe. I do think it probably still would have gone that one of the Siga or Namis would go home regardless. But I do think they got lucky here that they were just they're all in the power position. No one's exposed. I think okay, well, here's, you said you like it when I ask you questions.
Yes.
Who was going home if that other group lost? Because I think it's Q.
Okay. It's interesting. I'm trying to think from who. So it was what? Hunter, Kevin. Yeah.
All the Namis.
I would say it's probably Kenzie, maybe Ben.
You think one, because they're more expendable to the rest of their tribes, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's basically that. One of the tribes has to flinch and blink and say, okay, we don't care that much about this person. I think what hurt Mariah the most was that it took too long for the combination of Tim and Ben mostly, and ultimately, Maria and Charlie too, to throw out the name. They stuck to their guns too much.
Right.
In that,
right.
I think if they would have seemed more willing, and this is kind of like a new data point because I don't think we've had this before, that I guess it kind of came up last season. I don't know if you got into Survivor 45 yet.
Yeah.
I have a little
something. Yeah. I recently watched the episode where Emily is at the swap. And this was actually the exact same logic she used of why she decided to go with Reba instead of Bello, because she was like, Reba's got all these cracks, because I guess they're talking about like Sifu and Jay and stuff.
Yeah.
Even though I don't even know that that's true, that Reba had more cracks than Bello. Like, I can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
But I never really thought about that way, because I think it was kind of to Siga's detriment also that they tried to stay so strong, because I think that I was watching this with my girlfriend and she's like, who's the threat on Siga? Like, you're looking at it. There's no like obvious, like, it's just a bunch of people that you're not like, oh, there's like the one threat. You're looking at Nami and you're like, Tevin is this social, like amazing guy. And like Hunter's like the star in all the challenges. Like if Siga had come in being like, yeah, we're together. We're the weakling nerd tribe against like this amazing Nami. I feel like that maybe had some legs to it.
Yeah, and I know it wasn't by design, but Venus actually kind of saved Nami here in this episode. Like Venus came in and was like, "Oh my God, these people! I'm sick of them. I want to vote with you." And then they're like, "Oh, great, let's keep Nami intact." Where Siga was the opposite of that. That they were like, "Nope, we're a united front. We're all on the same page," and it was like, "Oh, we got to break that up."
Right. Totally. Which, like, yeah, Nami, be grateful to Venus. Okay.
Be grateful to Venus. And I wonder if this is the type of thing where for a future season, should a tribe project more weakness of like, oh my God, we can't stand each other. We're so dysfunctional, as opposed to Siga, which was always the vibes. Oh, the vibes are so good. We're so united. We're all friends. We're doing everything together. Yeah. And I think that you make yourself more of a target by coming off as like the perfect tribe, as opposed to Nami, which came across as very dysfunctional, which kind of protected them all.
No, absolutely. And nothing makes you believe, nothing like makes you feel real bonded with someone more than them shit talking their friends, And so like the other people, like you see like Tevin and Q like complaining together about Venus, like that's like actual bonding, like the Siga people are so like in their thing. And I feel like they were not really like, not really making those same like connections in the same way that the Nami people were.
Yeah. Evvie, now could you recontextualize the Survivor 41 tribes with that in mind, where of course, you have Ricard and Shan who come in together.
Yep. So it was Ricard. So it's funny because actually our vote could have gone so different in your history book thing if it hadn't. Okay, so we had Ricard and Shan, then you had me, Liana, Tiff, and Xander. So 4 of us that were pretending we were going to stay a thing, but the whole time we had this big crack between like, it was like me, Liana, and Tiff, and Xander kind of not in that, but also kind of me, Tiff, and Xander kind of had our thing without Liana. So that's like, this like fracture-y thing going on.
Right.
Then you have Luvu completely intact,
but super dysfunctional.
But not that dysfunctional. They stuck together for plenty of votes there. So it was, you had the entire, Erica, Heather, Deshawn, Danny, and of course Nasir and Sydney. To add that to my 100 countdown. On
the speed run.
And so, yes, in the end, it was that the most, like in some way, so Sydney was expendable to most of the people on Luvu, but not Danny. But and it ended up that Sydney went home, but the entire group, most people were going to vote for me, which really, if we hadn't done the whole knowledge is power flip around, would have been a very different type of vote to the other ones that you're describing. Because it was because I was a threat and not in this majority tribe, but I also wasn't expendable to my tribe, which is how I ended up getting the idol like almost played on me.
Yeah. And it would have been the only time that really like somebody who was a threat was the target.
Right. Well, and my mistake absolutely there was I was being greedy and I wanted to keep Sydney, even though in retrospect, I should have just been like, go for Sydney, because that's like the odd man out potential in there. But it also wasn't so clear because I kind of thought she was more in there than it was. It's so hard. It's so hard, Survivor, Like, why would It's so hard. The tribe that stuck together, they were too united. So then that was bad. And then like, like Mariah said Aubrey was her favorite player and like, that's bad. It's so hard. It's so hard.
Yep. Yep. Anything could go wrong. It doesn't matter. Or wrong in the Aubrey case.
Or wrong.
But that Q, I feel like it's really, I don't know where he got this Aubrey thing from, where Aubrey is, a lovely person. But like he's talking about Aubrey like she was this like strategic assassin.
Yeah, right.
And maybe it's because I got to know Aubrey a little bit. Like that's not her.
No, I know. I think honestly, okay. I don't know Q. My interpretation, he looks at Mariah. He's like, why is Mariah here? She doesn't look like, he looks like someone who you'd put on a survival fitness show. What's Mariah doing here? She looks kind of nerdy. She's got to be like a super smart
nerd. She can't
even jump, And you look at that person, you're like, they must be a super fan nerd. Oh, Aubrey, there you go, proves it. I think it's like one of those confirmation bias.
What's going to happen when he talks to Liz?
I know. Not like any Liz this episode, which is a shame. We haven't gotten enough billionaire Liz content for my taste.
Not enough.
Yeah. I know. I mean, Aubrey is just really not that scary. I think you have to take a classic. I think the best answer to that question is like straightforward, like Sandra, Serene.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. I don't know. He just had like a very like negative interpretation of Aubrey.
It reminds the fact that they're like, he's like, she's so smart. She's so smart about the game. She likes Aubrey. It's
yeah. This was his quote. He says, Aubrey, she was setting people up left and right. And if she thinks she's going to set me up, she can cancel Christmas. That's the like.
Is that what he said?
Oh, yeah. Who is Aubrey setting up?
Wow. I mean, wow, canceling Christmas out here. I know that's the thing. Aubrey that's not really her thing. I guess maybe he just watched Edge of Extinction, and he saw like the failed like lines from Aubrey, and he's like, that Aubrey, she's sneaky.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, she was a big target there as a returning player in that season, but that was really one that he just really was like, oh, she's an Aubrey. She's got to go.
Yeah, she's got to go. I don't know, dude. I don't think Q's got too much longer in the game, to be honest.
Oh, see, I feel like that he's kind of like heating up right now. I feel like I'm higher on him than I've been all season at this point. Just I feel like that he's come in and I think that really has been really leading this big Journey 6 alliance. So I don't think that he'll get to the end. Like I wouldn't pick him as the winner, but I really just feel like that as of right now, I feel like that his game is peaking right now and maybe he's peaking too soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think he's just very, very exposed. You know what I mean? Like he is already a super physical guy. It's very, very apparent. And he's playing like so hard, talking to everybody. He's got his 6 thing. He's like really like dictating the vote in a lot of ways. It also, another parallel to my season, a thing that happened, Shan and Ricard, very much in that spot, the small group, they had a lot of power because of that. And it ended up that Shan was like dictating the votes to the actual majority tribe of like Danny and Deshaun. And they were like, this is so annoying. We have the numbers. Why is Shan telling us what to do? I think Q a little bit, he has a lot of power, but he doesn't have really the thing to back it up. I think maybe they end up going on like a Tika style thing, but I also think it could be the thing Tika had is that they seemed not threatening as individuals, and like I do think that Q just stands out, as such a like obvious threat that I think one of these splits goes the wrong way and he's in trouble,
Yeah. So it was a big deal for Venus here that Venus really wanted to make sure that one of the women stayed in the game. Didn't want to see it be Mariah. Really wanted it Charlie to go home. I mean, I think the irony is that I think that Charlie is like all about working with the women.
Totally. But I gotta say, love Charlie. Yeah, he's gonna go with women for sure. But also Venus, that was smart. I'm like, Venus is out here saying smart stuff. What if they'd gotten Charlie out there? That would have changed the entire game. Like if they had gotten Charlie out there, Nami and Purple are like just like would have made like the best move ever, But you're right that it's like too hard these Mergatory.
I understand what Venus is going for there, but I just kind of feel like that it's kind of like I think that Charlie is a more powerful and we can see the board more than Venus is able to, but I kind of feel like that if I was going to like craft a path for Venus to get to the end, I think that Maria I think is the most important person in terms of looking at this journey 6. She's the person who's like, I'm not really feeling it. It's fine. And I think that Maria, she knows what it is. She's the person who could go to all these other people that are not in it. She has told us, Tim's not my number one. Charlie's my number one.
Yep.
So if Maria has Charlie and then is able to, okay, I know I can get Venus. Can I get Kenzie? Like, I think that there's like more of a chance to build up the resistance. And I think that Charlie is probably more likely to be a bigger part of that than Mariah ultimately would be. So I know that for Venus that she would have rather have seen Charlie go out at this spot. But I think that long term, I think that if Venus goes far, I think it's going to be probably with Charlie more so than what Mariah would have brought to it.
I mean, that's a really good point. And like I said, I really do think that the fact of the like +1 alliance saying they're +1s is just like really valuable information that they gave away to each other. So I do feel like that. And yeah, like you said, Maria is not really as into it as the other ones. So that definitely could be a ticking time bomb for people to find that out. But we
got so much about Charlie's Angels early on in the season for it to have gone nowhere.
Yep. No, that's fair. I mean, I think the reason why I liked Venus saying that is only like that Charlie getting out is just such an impactful vote, like in terms of he's playing a great game, I think. So like that just like he's a big threat to win. But I do think you've got a good point that like he is the type that that she really could go with. And it's like at the end of the day, she probably should be like trying to get in with Siga because like Nami hates her. Like every single one of them hate her. So like you're better off really like getting in with the other side. Yeah. Man, what a 12 days that must have been. Those are people that are not mincing words. Like that was like, they're fighting that little bit there,
Yeah. I mean, there was even that one moment and you alluded to it earlier where Hunter was going to look for the key. And then Venus is like, so what do you think he's, what's he thinking about? So I was like, I don't know. Don't ask me.
How should I know? Yeah, totally. It's so fun. I mean, it's the classic thing when you like hate your roommate and then like everything they do is so annoying, but like also you're starving. And so, yeah, that's what we love, right? Some good fighting.
But the thing that's also interesting is that I don't know if Soda knows this, but I think Soda and Venus need each other. That they're the people and they don't know what they don't know. Right. But the danger for that is not Venus, is not Soda. Right. It's this other alliance that's formed, this Journey 6 that's going to be targeting probably Soda sooner than Venus.
Right. Which is like, I mean, what a beautiful thing that would be if Soda and Venus can get together. I mean, like I said, I really, really, really do think that conversation that Venus had with Soda and Kenzie was important. Like that general thing where Venus is thinking, Venus is there to play. Venus wants like the women against the men. Like that's just something that people can work with and like has like she has a viewpoint, you know what I mean? And like, I really like, that would be some good Survivor stuff if they can figure it out. I mean, yeah, we don't really know because like Soda, it seemed like Soda and Tevin are really close, but then like Soda and Hunter not so much. And like Hunter at least at one point was like, I'm fighting with Soda to be like Tevin's number one. I think Soda is a smart social player and can see that Hunter and Tevin, it seems like, have drifted a little away from her. And that'd be so fun if she works with Venus to get one of them out.
Yeah, it would be. We just haven't gotten that point of view from Soda in the episodes. Like we really haven't gotten, we've only got to see how Tevin thinks of Soda, but we really haven't gotten to see Soda's perspective on how she views Tevin's relationship with Hunter.
Yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying. Everybody needs to be scared. That's what makes Survivor votes better than Big Brother votes. Sorry, audience.
Shots
this is
fired.
The Survivor podcast, okay? Everybody gets to be scared except for the one person who won immunity. And like, that's what I don't like about the Mergatory thing is like, I want to see Tevin scared. We haven't seen scared Tevin at all. Like, what does that look like? You know? Yeah.
Not yet. Maybe
Not yet.
Get that next week with the split vote.
That's right. Ugh, the stupid split vote. This is just my trauma, like back to back.
I know. Like, and I really feel like that. You asked me if I care about Mergatory, and honestly, like, I kind of feel like Mergatory. It's fine. This split vote next time is what I really don't like, and I'm glad they do it at 12 and not at. And in your season, they did it at 10.
Yeah,
and then you lose the final 10 vote. You lose the final 9 vote. At least they do it at 12, and you lose.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do the same thing again, where somebody's not gonna make the jury because they get voted out first next week.
Oh, that's right. I saw. Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert for Survivor 45.
I saw that one. Sifu. That's what happened to Sifu.
Yes.
That's so mean. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that Mo's not on the jury. You know,
she's not on the jury. Yeah. But then when they do the split vote, the first person that gets voted out won't be on the jury, and the second person will be.
So it's like whether you made the jury is dependent on whether your other random split vote person lasted longer. That's so dumb.
It's a mean game. It's a mean game.
Sucks.
But I just feel like that we waited, like, okay, everybody, we're here. It's the merge. You're on the same beach. But like, we never get a real like normal vote until
exactly.
exactly. Now, until
These
the final
are the most interesting, chaotic. Like, I can't describe how overwhelming the merge was. Like, there's so many people. I had been talking to the same 3 people for a week. And then all of a sudden there's 12 people, and there's like also a million camera people. And you're just like trying to like figure out what's ever happening. And then you're like, am I talking to too many people? Am I talking to enough people? And that's the thing. I do think I loved what Charlie said of that. He was like trying to be a goalkeeper. Like that is obviously the way to play it as a not safe person. Like, that's so smart. I'm just like, oh, if there's a shot on goal, I got to defend that. But otherwise I'm just like chilling. I love that. And it really, like, I remember feeling so frantic. And I think about the people in my season who ultimately were like playing so much better than I realized, like Danny. Danny's always someone I think about who like was playing a much better game than I understood at the time. Cause I was always like, what's he even doing? And it's like, right. Cause he was in a really good spot. So he was not doing what Deshaun was doing, which was running around and making everyone realize that he was a big threat, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Survivor, man. It's hard.
Yeah. It's hard. A million different things to account for. Something that came up in the episode. I want to know, have you ever heard of this before? Mm. Venus was pitching, okay, name for a name. Yeah. Okay.
Not just because she believes in it.
She believes in name for a name. Okay. Yeah. You tell me tell me the person who's on the bottom on your tribe, and I'll tell you who's on the bottom. Now, I feel like, was she going to say herself? I mean, yeah. That I don't know what if Venus had the name that was.
Well, it's like Venus's name. I think Venus was like, I will vote for anyone on my tribe. That's my name, you know. Mm-hmm. But then everybody in the game, like at the merch feast, they all kind of subscribe to it, name for a name. Like they
did it name for a name from their tribes, but they didn't want to do it with Venus. And actually, Mariah was even like, I don't know about this Venus.
Right.
She's too cagey.
I mean, yeah, it definitely is quite a name for it. Like it's just like a very transactional approach rather than like, wow, I like you guys. Like, wow, we're really this 3, like we're really vibing. Like, I don't really get the best sense from there's just a way to do it, but name for a name, who knows? Like, we're gonna be watching Survivor 52 and everyone's gonna be like, so we did the name for a name. And
yeah. It's funny how these things start.
Yeah, exactly.
Venus could be a game changer.
Yeah. Put her on there.
Yeah.
No, but it's funny. I mean, it just is so interesting how, and maybe this is like something people have just been learning throughout the new era. Maybe people are, like you studying this of like, it's going to be the people on the bottom, but yeah, worrying about the threats, but I guess like also like that group of people just didn't really have a super standout threat among them.
Right. And Evvie, I wonder if this has been the thing where, the new era where maybe is this the evolution of where it's gone, where so much of the new era has been about anybody that's a threat, gotta go. Mm-hmm. And have we reached the point where the threats, rather than targeting themselves, like we've seen through a great deal of this new era, that this could be where we're starting to see the threats say, hey, the only way one of us wins is if we go to the end with all the threats.
Right. I mean, it's worth a try, but then, you get to the end of the game and you've got an actual tough final, which I know happened in Survivor 45. So, at the end of the day, you do want to try to be the only threat left, So I don't know, but I prefer that, that's fun in some ways, keep the threats together and have like these people that are really trying to play hard together. But then when they're just voting out all the weak people, it's like, are they trying to play hard? Are they the threats?
It's the
What's
threats
a threat?
as determined by the challenge threats. The challenge threats have determined what a threat is. It's not necessarily a situation where the best game players got together and said, okay, we're the 5 best people at this game. Let's go to the end.
Right, which is another like kind of annoying thing about the mergatory thing, where it's just like now when you don't even flip the outcome on the head. I mean, who could imagine that? Where the people just win the challenge and then are safe. Then it's just always going to be that the strongest people are safe for the first vote. You know,
we opened talking about the mergatory challenge, and then we really haven't talked about it. But it went as sideways as it possibly could have gone with the rock draw. And again, it was. Kudos to the Orange Tribe because it was very close. Just the Hunter, he's just like he's got all those puzzles.
He's got that puzzle in his basement. You know it.
He should do something with that puzzle enterprise that he has.
Yep, just all on his own.
Yep. But in all seriousness, should they do a draft? Like, is there a better way to do this?
Did you see Eliza's tweet about this?
No. What did she say?
That's what she was like. The great thing about the schoolyard pick, both. You're more likely to have more even teams, and you have people who are pissed because they weren't picked till the end, which was apparently like her, I guess, and fans' favorite.
They
and that's
love the rock draws.
And the rock draw, and then the person just gets to bet on the obviously win. Like Tiff didn't have to do the challenge, and then just got to eat and was safe. In my day, at minimum, you had to stay alone on an island for 3 days. You know?
I think they feel like this is part of the dangerous fun of like, it's a bag of rocks. What could happen? You don't know. It's so fun.
Listen, this is the thing. And the ultimate danger in Survivor comes from the other players. That's just always going to be more dangerous than a freaking bag of rocks, as someone whose game was blown up by several bags of rocks. So,
yeah, just not a good way to do it. Last season, and again, I don't want to spoil the merge for you, but the rock draw was not good last season either.
No, I saw that. Yeah, again, a super obvious one. Katora guessed it right out, and you're good to go. It's just not that fun. Okay, but circling back, again, I caught up. I did some homework in prep for this podcast, and I hadn't yet heard your interview with Jeff Probst. First of all, that was amazing. So nice that he did it and that you got him. And it was such a sweet, great interview. And I just want to take a sec to say all this complaining about it, they're doing great. The thing that is so great about Jeff is like, he's not like phoning it in bag of rocks. He just genuinely, we disagree about what's more fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it is not from like the perspective of laziness or anything like that, like that that they do it because they think that that's the best thing. I mean, if anything, you could fault them for it. They care too much and try to do too many things,
right?
But it's definitely not from and I got to tell Jeff that like he is not phoning it in.
No, and it's beautiful and it's sweet, and it warmed my heart to see the giant ball back. We were the first ones. We had to dig that out of the sand. It's a staple
of the new era.
Yeah. But they just had to push it. Do they even have to push it? They just had to climb it?
No, they had to climb up the giant ball.
That's nothing. Digging it out of the sand was terrible. I'm one of them now.
Your transformation is complete now that you were able to say, back in my day, we had to dig up the giant ball and push it.
Your ball was sitting there? Oh, yeah. Your giant ball?
Did you even have to break an hourglass?
It's so silly. It's so silly. But that is one part that's cool. That is the thing I do like about the mergatory thing is that was for us anyway, by far the hardest challenge. And we were the most depleted. And it was fucking epic to do it. And it's like we earned the merge, but then we didn't,
then we didn't. You didn't. I want to say like I don't really remember like what they did last night. This seemed like the most like normal like challenge than something like the first couple were just like so insanely tough.
Yeah, I think this was pretty much the same as 45. It was a different challenge puzzle situation, but the first couple were ridiculous. Yeah.
The feast also was not at the sanctuary. It was at the beach with everybody. Have they done that before?
Oh, I couldn't figure out where it was. So it was just like on the side?
It seemed like it was on the side because they all walked back together. I feel like that in the past, we've had like this awkward moments where it's like the losers are back camp and like, okay, well, when do you think they're going to get back? What should we do? Where they all sort of came back together and then they ate. I was waiting for somebody from the losers to come up and like, they're like, hey, can we ask you guys a question?
Yeah, right. I know it's so awkward the being right there. We had one the reward challenge that I won where I did the puzzle really fast.
Mhm.
That was one where it was like we had a plate of sandwiches and we were just supposed to go eat it like somewhere else. It's so awkward, those moments of like being like with the people that aren't going to get to eat and then you're about to go and the merge feast. I mean, yeah, and that's so sad. The other people don't get the merge feast. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it takes a little bit of like the pep
Gotta earn it.
out of it.
Gotta earn everything.
But they can just never earn it. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you was the Flint remind me, it's 541, was that all that was part of it?
That was part of it.
Yeah, that was always
Sorry for You was there.
Sorry for You is all there.
Have you noticed he's also doing this thing now of like really trying to make it a thing of like, if you didn't win, you're the what? The losers. Yeah, is that we know about that new catchphrase?
Yeah,
okay.
Yep.
No, that was there, but no one had the intense suffering that Yanni had because we all succeeded in the sweat versus savvy. We all got it. So Yasa, even though we then lost the next 2 immunities, we always had our fire going from the beginning. So that really, gosh, that is rough. 12 days without fire. It's so cold. And then you have no way, like we would literally on the nights when it rained, we had a really good like shelter for our fire. And we would just literally like sleep next to it. Like that sucks. That sucks. Poor Yanni.
Sorry for yous. Yep.
What are they? The losers.
The losers, also known as Yanu tribe. Evvie, let's take some questions from the audience. We got a bunch. Okay. And let's see. How about a question about okay, is it time to retire the big boulder of the challenge? No, it's a staple.
No, big boulder forever. Okay, me and that big boulder, we're connected. Bits of my skin are probably still on it somewhere. So no, big boulder there. Other parts of the Murgatory I could leave personally. Yeah.
Okay. How about a question from Paolo? Where does Venus go from here? Her edit is so substantial.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think is Venus likely to be a target when we get to the groups of 6?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think she's going to be like a target per se, but I think she could. I think her worst case is she is in a group that they all like each other, and then she's just
or is with a lot of people from Nami.
Right, exactly. Well, a lot of people that like each other except for her.
Right.
Actually swapping with Nami is probably her worst case scenario. But I think if she gets with any other like mixture of people, she's just like such an obvious vote to be with someone. And she's so ready to vote out one of those Nami. I mean, I want to break up some of these things. Like that would be such a surprise, like get someone out of there. Use Venus. I want Venus to go far. I mean, I do think realistically we're looking at 0 vote finalist upside, but great. So many of our 0 vote finalists have been iconic, legendary, know-it-alls even, So
living know-it-alls even.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think there's anywhere else you think there's winner upside?
Again, I think it would be very hard for her because I feel like that I don't think that she's going to be a person who's going to be able to put something together. I've talked about this a little bit over the last couple of weeks. I've been sort of like developing this theory of, and I mean this lovingly, of like, there are the people that are sort of like that make these failed bids that I've talked about as also known as the losers.
Yeah, sure.
But then there's also the nothings. And I think that you can go from somebody who is just sort of like a non-entity, like Liz. Like, and I think that you can sort of be Liz and you could just be like, okay, just like coasting along. And then all of a sudden, then you pop at the end and you can win the game from being nothing. But I think that once you are a person who is like striking out, I'm not sure necessarily what you need to do. And we've seen players.
Who are the failed bids? Give me a failed bid example.
Okay, well, I don't want to spoil last season.
I know what happened basically.
Okay, it would be an example of somebody
who did. Owen.
Really trying to stir the pot, trying to get things going. Come on, everybody, let's do this.
Is that what's going to happen for Jake? Is that where Jake is going?
And that's where Jake's
Yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah.
That's where Romeo went ultimately. I'm trying to think of
Xander a little bit, I would say, for sure. In some ways, different, a little different, but
yeah,
yeah, it's
and
similar.
you know,
Yeah.
sort of like pushing from the bottom of,
Yeah.
hey, like, come on, let's flip this whole thing over. People are like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could see that. I mean, the thing is, right now, the thing to flip over, it feels flip overable, you know? So like,
Yeah.
I do think if she gets into a
Too
group,
late yet.
right? If she gets into like a good group in this 6 and they or whatever number it'll be, and they can take out a Tevin, like that would be crazy. But like Venus is ready to go to make a move, and I think she could get into a group, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get into that, like, everybody, they can't keep getting away with it. Come on. Who's with me? You know, like that person like never goes on to win.
Right. But I just do think it's way too early for that because there's just no them yet. There's no like, like, you know, like I think ultimately that is what that's what Erica was able to do ultimately. You know what I mean? But yeah, you don't know when you're going to be a nothing first or a failed bid, I guess.
But I think that she went more from like a non-entity, and you were there,
right?
But like I feel like she went more from like a non-entity to like emerging at the right moment, as opposed to the person who was like really like, hey, come on, let's get this, let's turn this whole thing on its head.
Well, right. I feel like I was more like, come on, Erica, let's go, and she was like, not yet, because it's not smart, and she was right for her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you were too good at it, and then ultimately that's why you had to go. Had you stayed ultimately, and people were like, Evvie's like, it's not gonna take.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I guess my point is, how do you? Yeah, I mean, you just have to be able to do it. Because like my point was more like, I feel like she was talking sometimes about like we got to flip it, but then didn't actually go for it because she knew that was not right, because she is a literal,
and you can't really flip
winner.
it yet, but it's either like pretty soon it's either like she's got to actually flip it, or you know that she's on that trajectory of best case scenario 0 vote finalists.
Yeah, I've been, as I said, I've been watching Survivor 45, and also my girlfriend just watched all of Blood versus Water, the original, and the Philippines also. So I've been around that. And I do feel like also if you become too much the talker but never the doer, then you get Monica Culpepper syndrome. You know?
Yeah.
When was the last time someone talked about Monica Culpepper on this podcast?
Not recently.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Doing it for Monica. All right.
Who's thinking of Monica, Rob? You know?
Well, Monica has to think of Monica.
That's right.
Okay. All right. How about Will? How do you feel about this? Will says, how does Evvie feel knowing that they are the undisputed, preeminent new era nerd?
I don't know that is true, but I mean, first of all, thank you, Will. Proud nerd here. I have to say, I think that there are much more prominent new era nerds. I mean, we got Carson, we got Brandon, like a lot of nerds out there.
Your stock is up today, Evvie.
That's some puzzles, they're simple, they're simple, and they're effective, and they're free. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about Ray says, is it just me, or can Q not turn off the teacher role adopted on Yanu? Is he starting to cause trouble for himself? Well, I thought it was so interesting, and I was trying to find a way to tweet this, and I couldn't turn it into a tweet. But when Mariah was at the tribal council, okay, and Mariah was like, "Look, I got to tell y'all, it wasn't unanimous. I was that," and then Q. That was like giving Mariah some words of wisdom, and he said like, "Hey, Mariah, don't let anybody mute your game, okay? You gotta speak your truth." I'm like, this is like the exact opposite advice that he gave to Banu.
Don't let anyone mute your game. I will now proceed to vote you out in 11 to vote.
Yes. Banu, how's everything going? Good. The vibes are good.
The vibes are good.
I'm vibing with everyone.
I have to say, I do think that would wear on me, the teacher energy. Certainly. I definitely, obviously you're getting the edits, but I do think in a lot of the conversations we saw, Q's doing a lot of the talking and other people are doing a lot of the like, oh yeah. And that's not really the position I think you want to be in. Typically, you don't see Cerie's doing a lot of listening, yeah. But the other thing is you just have to be who you are. You just like cannot be someone different. So like he's doing fine. He's not Bruce, you know? He's
I thought this was Q's best episode of the season.
I think outcome wise, yes. I'm really nervous for him. I feel like he's really exposed.
I think he's going to get picked off eventually, but I just feel like that this was the week where everything was coming up Q.
Yeah. I do. I mean, yeah. What do you think about, it's so funny that he, as the one who was so upset with Jelinski, was the one on Yanu that like multiple times was like, you know what? Vote me out. It's me.
Yep.
And then it was ever like, no, not really. Like the Colby Donaldson approach. But it's like, he's an interesting guy, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
He said that he was then just going to try to say that to Kenzie. That was going to be his plan if they went to one more tribal council.
Sure.
But I think he definitely had like a low moment or two.
Yeah. I mean, he did honestly, I feel like the first couple episodes, I mean, he had a lot of power in those Yanu votes. Like, even though, you know, Tiff ostensibly was kind of like in that middle position, he was the one that had the relationships with Banu and Jess. And, you know, he did great in the pre-merge for sure.
He did. But, you know, I love Tiffany's position so much more because then she has, not in addition to Idalicia, she has, you know, basically Q out in front as sort of like the big leader shield. Kenzie is a little bit out in front as sort of like the social charisma shield. So really feel like that Tiffany is looking like she's in a great spot. Okay. Marianne Okic.
Oh, what's up, Marianne?
About to be married in a couple
days.
Who's your non-threatening favorite player?
Wow. In the current cast, presumably. Yes.
I guess all time.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Non-threat. Okay, I don't know where he falls in this. I love Ben. We haven't talked about Ben enough.
Yes.
He's so fun. Like, and he's just...
Do you shred, Evvie?
You know, I don't personally shred, but I love that it's just... it's like it's a gimmick, but it's not even a gimmick. You know?
Shredvolution?
Canceled.
That's it for that?
Shredvolution. Oh man. I just love, it's just like he loves rock and he's gonna talk about rock and he's like the rocker guy who's like super nice, like just a sweetie. I think he probably eventually will be like some sort of social threat, but I think he's in a great spot too. Like no one's looking at him. He's like, he's just a sweetie. So I like him a lot. That's probably my favorite non-threatening. I think the thing is like everyone's a threat. Like it's like, you know, Charlie's a threat. There's a lot of threats on the board.
Yeah.
I
think that I would say my legitimate answer, like I was out there and, you know, I was with people who didn't know like anybody and they were like so who do you like? And I said my serious answer is my hero is Jonathan Penner.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, and he's so great. And he's just like an awesome person also. That's a perfect example. I mean, my favorite non-threatening player ever. I'm gonna have to just sit on that because I feel like I'm gonna
people like, he mutinied. He switched on his tribe. You can't trust him.
Okay, you know who's another non-threatening player I love? I love me some Nora. You know, I love those kinds of characters. Yeah. You know, like also just people that are who they are. That's what I like about Ben. It's just like he's rock guy, and that's what he's gonna do. You know.
Yeah.
Penner.
Speaking of rock guy, Heather wants to know how slippery is that big boulder?
That's fun. Yeah, I mean, well, we didn't have the element of being covered in mud, so I don't think it was that slippery for us. Also, we pushed the big boulder, and then I think, scaled some other thing. We had to climb it to get like a key or something, but I don't remember the slip. I remember being so hot. There was not a drop of moisture anywhere. Anywhere, Rob.
Okay. All right. On that note, let's bring in, we have a special guest standing by here.
Wow,
okay.
Fun.
A man who's celebrating a big day today. It's the birthday of this man, Taryn Armstrong. Taryn, how are you?
I'm doing well. Am
Happy
I the plus
birthday.
one in this alliance?
Yes, you're the plus one. We brought you in.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll
Okay.
think about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taryn, earlier tonight, we were talking about this Survivor vote as like, this is like as big brothery as this gets, of like the people in the Power Alliance are all safe. The people that aren't in the Alliance, that don't even know the Alliance exists, are all on the bottom, like begging for their lives, trying to say like, hey, go after the people in power. And you're like, nah.
Yeah, it's just picking off the people on the outs as a way to weaken the
Can Venus
people.
get HOH next week, do you think?
Just
Right?
seriously.
Hey, if this was Big Brother, Venus would have won the HOH at the end of this episode, and you'd be like, "Whoa, what's gonna happen now?"
Mhm.
That's how Big Brother does it. Sometimes.
I don't know. I watched one season of Big Brother in BB25, and that's not normally what happened, you know?
Yeah.
You're just not watching the right season.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, they've got the split house twist coming up next week. So what's that called? The
Dire Fest?
Dire Fest.
Oh God.
So that's coming up. But Taryn's coming
We
up.
don't say that name.
Yeah. Taryn's coming up with Big Brother Canada right after this. It's eviction night.
It's executive eviction night. It was a very special
Ooh.
episode tonight, Rob. It was actually pretty good. There was a whole series of events that happened. Somebody went home.
Whoa.
Maybe we weren't expecting to go.
Okay.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Even you weren't expecting, Taryn? Even you?
Nobody could have expected.
Oh, fun.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, Taryn, you have any other Survivor thoughts from tonight?
I'm a Venus fan.
Yeah.
I loved her calling out like every true fact. Like, you remember those 3 guys that went to the journey together? Like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
I do remember that.
exactly. She's saying smart stuff. She's saying smart stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's not wrong. Where's the lie? I just wish she wasn't saying it to everybody.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, tell
Listen.
us, tell maybe one person.
She's like
tell a
the
friend.
Bailey of Survivor right now. If you're watching Big Brother Canada, you know that reference. All right.
Mhm. Okay.
She didn't get any coaching, to be fair. A lot of the other players in this game got like a coaching session.
That's
you know?
right.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. All right. Taryn, okay, we'll let you get set up. All right, everybody, stand by for BB Can coming up right after this, okay?
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Bye. All right. So let's just take a couple more questions, because we got so many here with Evvie, and you have so much to say. Okay. All right.
Really do.
How about this? This is a good question. Worth playing for wants to know, Rob, what do you think about the fact that everyone had to compete in the puzzle?
Oh, I loved it. I know it says it's for Rob, but I loved it. What do you think, Rob?
I loved it too.
Yeah,
They've done this a couple times this season. They did that also with the ring toss. Make everybody do it. I mean, you have like, Nami, that they had Hunter, who was such a whiz at sort of like these puzzles and challenges from practicing them. And yeah, that's great for Hunter, but also like, I think that's like a real equalizer to make everybody have to participate in some of these things.
Yes, I completely agree. I do think this puzzle wasn't like so great for that, because everyone could really see the pattern and like help, which obviously is nice in some ways, but it would kind of, if you're going to try to like put everyone on the spot, I think there's like other puzzles that'd be a little, but I really do agree. Make everyone do stuff, except if it's me and I should only have to do the things that I'm good at.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. How about, okay. Leah wants to know, why didn't Tim choose Ben for the Journey 6?
Yeah, that is such a, I mean, we really have not, Tim has talked a lot, but we haven't really gotten to understand his like lay of the land. It seems like genuinely Maria is the person he wants to work with the most, even though it did really seem like everybody else's perspective was that it was boys versus girls with Maria and Charlie in the center.
Yeah, we have not really gotten to see too much of it. I know there was a secret scene at one time that Ben is not does not talk a lot of game, and maybe Tim can sort of like okay, Maria is the tough customer. She's the person, she had the extra vote. She's the person that I really want to work with. She's got the relationships. Where Ben, he's great to be around, but is he really thinking about the game a lot? Like, he's fun, but is he that guy?
Well, and I mean, clearly he was that guy enough to Charlie that Charlie felt it was like really worth making sure he stayed. So like, but maybe that's the relationship, And so, yeah, I mean, I think genuinely Maria just is his number one. He maybe should tell her, so that
Yeah.
she could know that too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Ethan says, after last week's blindside, I really thought that Charlie would get the boot tonight. Was I as delusional as my friend said I was? Okay, well, look, find a new friend, Ethan. That's not nice that your friend said you're delulu.
Yeah, you can be wrong and not delusional, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just wrong, you know? But no, I think honestly, I do think Charlie's in a really good spot in his group. Now the question will be, how does Siga fare? But I do think that Charlie, he just has a lot going for him where he is really athletic, but I don't think comes off that way. But like, he is like a big like runner and stuff like that. And he's like super likable, doesn't have the machismo thing. So he's like very like accessible to people. Like, I don't know. I think Charlie should be the person that the anti-Siga factors come for, but I don't think it will take a while to figure that out, I think.
Yeah, I think it would have been a better move for them to go after Charlie. And I'm not really sure necessarily why they didn't. I guess that what's interesting is that this Journey 6, I was searching for the name for it. This Journey 6, you know, what it has kind of caused is like the tribes are at war, but they're also like engaged in diplomacy. So I think that's what makes this scenario so interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we want to take out one of your numbers, but okay, we're not going to take out a number that's really going to hurt. We have to decide, like, we got to get rid of all these people here. But so like, give us, who do you volunteer as tribute? That's the person. And because they're like, we don't want to tell you anything. It's like, well, okay, now we have to take your person, but we're still not going to take a one that hurts.
Yep. I mean, yeah, right. Because that's the thing. It's both. I think the +1 alliance is like having that. By the way, I think +1 alliance is what I'm going to call it because that's just funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's that, and it's new era Survivor. No one's expecting this to be tribes forever. You know, like eventually people want to work with each other. They don't want everyone to be super mad at them. I mean, look at how Yasa totally screwed that up by both. The most expendable person went home, but we voted for Deshaun because we thought that we could try to get people to see, hey, he's the big threat. People weren't ready for that. And that was, a big mistake. So,
and really the person that it might be the biggest miss for to not have taken out Charlie might be Tim, because you give up Charlie, you still give up a Siga number, and you really lock Maria into this thing. And I don't know if Tim, the thing is that, Maria and Charlie have done this hidden thing, and maybe they've done it so well that Tim doesn't even know that Charlie is actually Maria's number one. But I think that had it been Charlie, I think it would have been a great night for Tim.
Yes. I mean, well, and that's the thing. It seems like Tim and I guess Ben too are playing really slow, and like maybe Ben's like barely playing. Tim playing so slow, didn't even tell Maria about the thing. Meanwhile, the other, like Charlie and Maria obviously have a lot going on. Jem was running around there. They got her out. Like, it's like very much like, I feel like there's a lot of like, they're not playing the same pace of game at all,
Okay. All right. Evvie, and then we'll leave it there. Let me tell everybody about what else is coming up here. Okay. We've got coming up on a big Thursday, kick things off with the exit interview. And then we will have Stephen Fishback live at 1:30. Then Friday, I'll get into the Survivor Feedback Show, plus Shannon Gus, the B&B, the Purple Pants podcast, and then also don't miss Why X Lost as well. Okay?
So fun. So fun.
All right.
Rob, you got so much going on always, and it's just so fun and good. Like, what a
thank
thing.
you, Evvie.
What was the Jeff thing? It was 500 episodes? It was 1,000 episodes?
That was episode 5,000.
5,000.
Yes.
Holy God. The hardest working guy, on that microphone.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to call it like work, but
Listen,
I am
it's
here.
11 o'clock at night. Like, I get it, Steven. It's tiring.
Tomorrow, The Amazing Race had its 90-minute episode tonight, and Justin from the Green Team is going to join Jess and Mike to talk about this, and Jess will have the exit interview with whoever got eliminated from The Amazing Race tonight. Okay. Deal or No Deal Island. Have you looked at this, Evvie?
Okay, I haven't yet because I'm like saving it. I really want to watch it. And also I love True Blood. And do you know the host guy? That's what he's from.
Joe Manganiello.
Yeah. He's a werewolf. Actually. Okay,
yeah. So. I used to watch that. I didn't stick around for all of True Blood.
Later, yeah.
Yes, but I could. Yeah, it's making sense now.
Yeah.
Suki.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's okay. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So check that out. A lot of fun with Boston Rob. Okay. And then Dr. Christian Hubicki joined Chappelle and Josh Wigler to talk about the 3-body problem over on Nothing But Netflix. Check that out as well. And of course, we got a lot going on for our patrons, including I'll be live on Friday at 3 p.m. I take calls live with the patrons, answering all of your patron questions and feedback. We had a great time talking about all this strategy on last Friday. We'll do it again this week, plus everything else in our patron podcast feed. We make it easy for you to watch all of the international reality shows with watch parties and more. And then we've got all the community features on Facebook and Discord. That's at robinswebsite.com/patron. And make sure you subscribe. robinswebsite.com/subscribe. Evvie, was there anything else that you wanted to bring up about tonight's Survivor?
Oh man, I mean, I would love to keep talking, but I don't know that I have much to say, But great job. New era.
You make
it's just really
so
fun.
effortless.
Thank you.
So great to catch up with you, Evvie.
I have
Please
fun.
come back.
This is fun. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a treat. It's a treat.
Always. Evvie, what else is coming up for you?
I don't know, that much. But if you follow me on Instagram at Evvie Jagoda, you'll see a mixture of Survivor stuff and political stuff. So that's what you're going to get if you head there. So be warned. And that's what I got going on. There's like trans stuff. There's Free Palestine stuff. There's Survivor. So that's what you're going to get if you go there. And I'm just watching TV. I'm with you guys, that's what I got.
Okay. All right. Well, Evvie, thank you so much. This was incredible here tonight. Really appreciate everybody who joined us here live. Stay tuned for Taryn and the BB Can crew. It's coming up. And I appreciate all of your comments in the chat. I read them after every podcast. So please let us know what you had to say. Would love to check out your thoughts as well. And we appreciate it when you hit like and subscribe on the videos too, because we got plenty more coming your way. Thank you for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.